So the Chicago Bulls season is not going how they have planned. They are not a very good basketball team. Currently, they are sitting at 19 and 23 on a 2-game losing streak, and they are 4 games out of a locked playoff spot. The 6th seed, which is the Knicks. The Pacers and the Knicks are tied for that. But even then, right? Like, let's say they do make the playoffs. The idea was never to be a play-in team, which is what they very likely are going to be. I don't see them catching up to the 8th or 7th seed. You never know. Maybe they can win enough games to get there. Again, they're 3-4 games out of the 7th and 8th seed, but I just don't think this team has it. Every time they look like they're going on a little run and get a little traction, boom, they'll win 2 games, they'll lose 3, and it's just they can't seem to get ahead. The team isn't meshing. There's talks about locker room issues. DeMar DeRozan and Zach Lavine, they're not seeing eye to eye. Zach Lavine in the front office aren't seeing eye to eye. And personally, I just think it's time for the Chicago Bulls to blow it up. I mean, you have Lonzo Ball, who is going to miss the remainder of the season. I mean, there were reports that came out just the other day that said he's still unable to walk. So you're not going to have Lonzo Ball, which is what they were hoping. Like, oh, Lonzo comes in and he's the piece that'll put it all together. And he can't stay healthy. You're very likely losing Vu at the end of the season. So you might as well get something for him if you can get anything for him, because now that's just a total disaster because the Orlando Magic have your picks, and unless you can get into the top 4, because then they're top 4 protected, and I just don't see Chicago having this brilliant turnaround. I just don't. Right now, they are 9th in the tank race, and they are about 8 games from the bottom, but they're only like 5 games out of like the top 4. So if they were to blow it up, they might be able to tank race bad enough to get into that top 4 or 5, and then maybe get their pick, convey their pick this year. And yes, it is a bit of a gamble. It is a bit of a risk because if you don't, like, say you get the 5 pick, then that means Orlando ends up getting your pick. But worst case, at least you got some assets, at least you got some pieces, and then next season you get your pick, and hopefully you're off to the races, and you can start this rebuild, because this team is not working currently as constructed, and I don't see it. I mean, I made a video before the season even began here on this channel where I talked about how the Chicago Bulls I thought were at best a play-in team, that I didn't think they were very good, that they weren't very good last year, although many Bulls fans disagree. A lot of Bulls fans believe that they were great and that this season they could turn it around, but so far they haven't, and we're almost at the midway point. And they weren't a very good team last season. I just said that all the other teams got better, which they have, and that Chicago was very likely going to be the odd team looking out. And so far they are. And they're right behind the Raptors and the Wizards still to not even be in the play-in. Right? And if they don't even make the play-in, that's a total disaster with Zach Lavine, DeMar DeRozan, Nikola Vucevic, like all the talent that they have on this team. I just think it's time for them to trade. I think it's time for them to just be done, move off of DeRozan, move off of Lavine, move off of Vu for whatever you can get, Alex Caruso, whoever you can trade on this roster, except for maybe Williams, I think you unload, right? I just think you blow this whole thing up, tear it down to the studs, get as many assets as you possibly can, and then look forward to the future. So, like Zach Lavine, for example, the Knicks would give whatever you want, right? Go to the Knicks, go get like a king's ransom from the Knicks, because the Knicks, one, were willing to give up everything for Donovan Mitchell, and they weren't able to get Donovan Mitchell, and because of that, you know that they're thirsty for like a guy like Zach Lavine. I don't think Zach Lavine makes any sense for the Knicks, but there are tons of reports linking the Knicks to willing to just give a king's ransom for Zach Lavine, and I do believe that they would do it. I don't think Zach Lavine is the answer for the Knicks, but they absolutely would do it. If you could get like an RJ Barrett, get him home, right? Like, why not? You work something out, you unload Zach Lavine, you get Barrett and a couple firsts or something. And I mean, the Knicks have an entire treasure chest of just first round picks, so many that they're just falling out of the chest. So if you could get a nice little package for Zach Lavine, I think you do it. Swap Zach Lavine for RJ Barrett and a couple firsts. Now you got your young cornerstone that you can build around. You could keep Williams. Now you got those two to kind of just build for the future. I would even unload Kobe White, right? Like, why not? Like I said, get rid of everybody. I don't think you'll be able to trade Lonzo. until he comes back from injuries and you actually see the production that he is and see if he's able to kind of get back into the flow of things. But if there's a team that will buy him, then you do the same thing. Andre Drummond, whoever you can, right? The only people I would keep is Ao and, like I said, Williams. That's basically it. Outside of that, trade everybody else. Unload the entire roster if you can and build around. Like I said, if you could get RJ Barrett, then you have Ao, you got Barrett, and you got, Williams. Like, there you go. There's your core three that now you can build going forward. Hopefully you get a nice, draft pick next season. You get a couple of the Knicks picks. Maybe you could even get the Knicks pick this year because it's not going to be, top 5 or whatever. They top 5 protected, whatever. You could do and get a really nice package for Zach Lavine. Even if the Knicks do decide that they don't want anything for it, I do think that there's teams that would take Zach Lavine and take a flyer on him. There are, of course, injury concerns with him. Can he stay healthy? Is he a bit of a liability? Is he a locker room issue? At this point, he's kind of becoming a journeyman. So if you're a team that wants Zach Lavine, there are a lot of questions. But I just think the Knicks would sell the farm to get Zach Lavine. Right, because especially with the way that they're playing and how good they've been, Julius Randle, Zach Lavine, Jalen Brunson, I think that they would feel like, okay, like we have enough firepower to compete, whether they do or don't. Again, I don't think he makes a lot of sense for the Knicks, but neither did Donovan Mitchell, and yet they were willing to go get Donovan Mitchell. So if you could get Zach Lavine or unload Zach Lavine to the Knicks, I think you'd do it. And then DeMar DeRozan, he's the tough challenge, right? Because of his age, his contract, stuff like that. Not many teams I see giving up a bunch of assets for him. But I really think the Lakers would give you whatever you want. I as a Laker fan, if many of you subscribe here, I know a lot of you are subscribed to As It Stands Lakers. As a Laker fan, I'm not really big. I mean, I wouldn't hate if they got DeMar DeRozan, but I'm not really big on it. I want them to go the depth route. Right, I want them to go get several pieces rather than DeMar DeRozan. But you could go and get. You could go and trade them DeMar DeRozan and get some assets, get some picks. The Lakers would probably give you both first for DeMar DeRozan. And I know the Chicago Bulls don't want to take. They don't want to take on Russell Westbrook. Okay, fine. You don't have to take on Russell Westbrook. Take Patrick Beverley, Kendrick Nunn, and Lonnie Walker. Now, Patrick Beverley and Kendrick Nunn, they're just the salary fillers. You're getting the first round picks, and you're getting Lonnie Walker, who could be a young shooting guard. Now you have the salary to re-sign him because you unloaded DeMar DeRozan and you unload Zach Lavine. So now you could sign him to, maybe 4 years, $60 million, get him on $15 million a year. And now you got Ao, you got Walker, you got Barrett, you got Williams, and now just go get yourself like a young center, something like that. Maybe that's what you're looking for in the draft, right? And now you got a team that can grow together, that's young, that can build and get ready for the future. And, Walker is a guy that was averaging 16 a game. Now, could you trade him to another team? Sure. I just don't know what team is willing to go and get DeMar DeRozan and trade a bunch of valuable assets for him. At least with the Lakers, you'd get a young shooting guard, and also you'd get, the first round picks. Now, as a Laker fan, I don't want the Lakers to give up both first. I don't think the Lakers should give up both first. But if I'm being honest, I think the Lakers would. Right, I think the Lakers would gladly give up both first-round picks for DeMar DeRozan. Although, again, I don't think the Lakers should give up both first for DeMar DeRozan. I think, one first and Lonnie Walker would be more than enough, especially when I don't see there being much competition. But it's the Lakers, and they're star-hungry. And I could see them doing that, especially if they could keep Russell Westbrook. So, I do see the Lakers essentially saying, here, what do you want? Okay, you don't want Russell Westbrook, that's fine. We'll give you Walker, we'll give you whoever. I think if you're the Chicago Bulls, you could also probably unload Alex Caruso to them, right? So maybe you work something out to where you give them Caruso and you take on like Damian Jones and JTA or something, right? Okay, cool. And now you're doing this swap, and now you're just unloading guys. And then now you have your young core that you're building for the future. Go do the Knicks trade. Now you go and you get, like I said, Barrett and a bunch of firsts. And now you just have this treasure trove of firsts over the next several seasons. And you got these young core. And now you're on the rebuild, right? Vu, maybe you could unload something for Vu to some team, maybe a team that he wants to go to. Maybe you could get, even if you just get a couple seconds, at least get something for him, right? At least don't just let him go for nothing, because I don't see him re-signing. So I just think if you can it's time to blow it up. It's not working. And they have this optimism that, oh, it's going to turn around, it's going to work, but they haven't really shown that, right? Like, again, they're so inconsistent. It's like one game, and every game that they win seems to be like a tight nail biter that they're not beating teams, right? Like, they're close games, and then Zach Lavine or DeMar DeRozan just hit some crazy shots and they win, right? Or the opposite happens and they don't win. And it's just, it's feels like every one of their wins is a coin flip, right? And it feels like when they lose, they just lose. And then, I mean, even was it last night or the other night? Zach Lavine you're down 3 with like 5 seconds left and you're crossing up trying to get a quick 2. Like, for what? Like, even Vu was like, dude, what are you doing? Right? Like, this team just seems to be heading down fast. And I just think if you're Chicago, now's the best time to unload these guys. You have a lot of teams too, and this is another point for maybe trading Zach Lavine and DeMar DeRozan, and maybe you would get more for DeMar DeRozan elsewhere, because the NBA right now, especially the Western Conference, is so wide open, right? I still don't think you get a ton for DeMar DeRozan, but Zach Lavine, there might be teams that rush to go trade for Zach Lavine, and you might be able to get a real bidding war, right? And the Knicks have like 10 draft picks over the next 3 years. So they could give you quite a lot. You could really start a bidding war because there's so many teams that are right there on the cusp that may look at it and go, man, if we had Zach Lavine and his scoring, right, and just his ability to shoot and spread the floor, like, we might be able to win a championship here, right? So you might actually be able to get a trade that you might not get otherwise in the offseason, right? Because you could make an argument to wait for the offseason before you do a trade, right? And in most cases, that is the thing that makes sense. But you have so many teams in the Western Conference that are right there, and they believe they are right there. And if you can kind of just have everyone start bidding against each other for Zach Lavine, you might be able to get a really good package like now that you might not be able to get in the offseason. Like, maybe you can, but you got like teams that are desperate or teams that feel like we're right there. We're right there. And that's also why I think the Lakers would give you essentially everything for DeMar DeRozan, because the Lakers are like, we're right there, we're good, we just need another piece, and they would probably feel DeMar DeRozan is that other piece. Plus, DeMar would want to go to the Lakers, so you don't have any like pushback or any questions about like, is this a place DeMar would want to play in, things like that, right? And then Zach Lavine, he would love to go to a team like New York or whatever. So I think if you're Chicago, now would probably be the best time to blow things up rather than wait until the offseason. If they do wait for the offseason, I don't think it's the end of the world, but you're not getting anything for Vu, so that sucks. You just basically threw away your draft pick this season and next season for a guy that you didn't even retain. And then I don't know. Every time I think about it, every time I look at it, I'm just like, Chicago really needs to blow this up. Like, this isn't a team that's going to turn it around, right? Like, I just don't see them overnight saying, okay, we're all of a sudden a contender. We're all of a sudden going to win, right? And even if they make the playoffs, they're just going to get smacked in the first round by the Bucks or the Celtics. So it's like, what's the point? But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you agree? Chicago, yeah, they need to just blow it up. Start a bidding war with Zach Lavine. Trade DeMar for whatever you can. Trade Vu for whatever you can. Get whatever you can recoup, and then get off to the races for the future. Or do you think, no, hold on to these guys, wait till the offseason, or just don't trade them, try to retool next season, whatever. However you feel, love to hear your thoughts and opinions, so let me know down in the comments section below.